Personification of the devil as a symbol of all evil assumes the living shape of the Jew. Madame Chairperson, honorable judges, ladies and gentlemen, fellow 4-H members. Xenophobia. Xenophobia isn't something you hear about casually in everyday conversations. It also isn't an actual recognized medical phobia, but rather a term you'd hear in politics to describe the fear or dislike of the unfamiliar. After the events of the past 2 weeks, unfortunately, a term you may be hearing more often. Even in the years before World War II, Adolf Hitler was known to have an intense hatred towards the Jewish people in Germany. In his book Mein Kampf, which translates to My Struggle in English, which was published in 1925, lots of his opinionated writings are based around the corruption of Germany by the Jews and how Germans should strive to protect the Aryan race, which is also where the opening quote came from. Now, what exactly is the Aryan race, you may ask? Allow me to explain. From Hitler's ideology, the Aryans were the pure race, made up of only white Christian Germans, and were the superiors of the earth. Hitler's ideas started to spread to his followers, known as Nazis. His intense hatred towards those not Aryan spread like wildfire through suppressed, economically unstable Germany, and created such passionate hatred for those who have such little difference. From a young age, the German youth were indoctrinated with the publication of propaganda in the form of posters, films, and books. These false exaggerations often portrayed Jews as monsters that needed to be put down, and Germany as a superior being. Jewish people, as well as homosexuals, gypsies, people with mental disabilities, and atheists were denied basic civil rights. Laws were passed to strip them of their German citizenship, even though many of these people had lived in that country for generations, and they were forced out of their households with little possessions or money to their name, both of which were forcibly taken by the Nazis. And finally, 6 million people were herded into concentration camps and executed. Canada was not immune to this hatred. In 1939, a ship carrying 907 Jewish refugees was turned away by Canada. The ship was forced to sail back to Europe, and as a result, 254 of those Jewish refugees were eventually perished in the above-mentioned camps. Now it's 2017, and we're much more developed in our views towards people of different cultures and races. We'd never be so rude as to create groups protesting people's ability to escape discrimination and violence just because we didn't think they belonged here, right? But hold that thought for a second as we review those acts of hatred. Discrimination, racism, genocide. Fast forward 50 years. If you've ever heard of Islamophobia before, stop me. But that sounds an awful lot like xenophobia, doesn't it? In fact, Islamophobia is the fear or dislike of Islam and the Muslim people. Funny how similar to xenophobia that is. It could almost be the same thing. During 1992 to 1995, the country of Bosnia went through an ethnic cleansing during their civil war. This term is just another way to say that the Christian militias were committing genocide of Bosniaks, a word for Muslim Bosnians. In the town of Srebrenica, between July 11th and 22nd of 1995, more than 8,000 male Bosniaks were massacred, while female Muslims were raped and tortured. Though it may seem like the 90s were a long time ago, in reality that was only 22 years. But we're a more developed world now, right? Let's move to 2016. Canada has taken in more than 25,000 Syrian refugees, while a budget of $245 million is set as the amount they can spend in an effort to help move them into our society. I am mortified to witness Islamophobia in places as common as the classroom or social media, where people feel free to speak with rude and often shocking statements coming from friends and family members. When the Busby Lions Club donated money for the new refugee family in Westlock, my family volunteered to deliver, set up, and provide a supper for both our and their family. As someone who has spent time with them, I find it completely ridiculous to find that people are terrified of little boys whose eyes lit up with complete joy when they saw the bed we brought and set up and the pizza we ate together. Those 4 little boys were able to communicate with us no matter the fact that they couldn't speak the same language as us. If they're here in a country renowned for basic human rights and freedom, it's because they wanted to be free from the persecution and violence in their home country. No one wants to wake up in fear that they might not live to see another day. Common, everyday citizens work to spread the irrational fear of these people simply because they're not like us. Something about this is starting to sound really similar to what I was hearing earlier. There was a genocide in Bosnia. Syrian refugees face racism and discrimination right here in Canada. What's the difference between this and what Hitler did during the Holocaust? Were we really not able to learn from our mistakes? Maybe we really aren't as developed as a world as we thought. In the words of Wolfram Richter in 2005, an economics professor at the Dortmund University of Technology, "I'm afraid we have not learned from our history. My main fear is that what we did to Jews, we may now do to Muslims. The next Holocaust will be against Muslims."